What is going on, Wahoo Nation? Welcome into another edition of the Cavalier Connection podcast. I'm your host, Jack Lowe, joined as always by nobody today. Nobody, just me, myself, and I. Unfortunately, couldn't get a time set for myself, Jay, and my dad, Jeff, to all get in here at the same time, but that's all right. That's not going to stop me from previewing the very big NC State game. The Hoos. It is game day eve. The Hoos will be traveling down, or at this time probably are traveling down south to Raleigh, North Carolina to play the Wolfpack of NC State. Very, very big game for the Hoos. Considered non-conference. We'll get into that in a minute. CJ Bailey on that other sideline. What can the Hoos do to stop him? How will Chandler Morris play? Is he healthy? Cam Robinson? What's the deal with everybody that is involved? Well, we're going to discuss all of that today and preview the matchup. I want to thank all of you for tuning in with me today to preview this matchup. As always, be sure to go check out thecavalierconnection.com. Again, that is thecavalierconnection.com. Some great articles going up. Jay had an article that went up last night, but you could see it today about him and my dad's trip down to Carter Finley Stadium when they were about my age, and talking about that a little bit. Very good article. You definitely want to go check that out. And then you can see my preview article there as well, previewing the NC State UVA game. So you don't want to miss any of that, as well as all the other articles that are always going up. With that being said, though, let's get into it. The NC State Wolfpack playing host to the Virginia Cavaliers. Very, very big game. So non-conference, I'll talk about that a little bit for a second. Ever since the ACC expanded to 17 teams, 16 teams, whatever it is now, adding Cal, Stanford, and SMU, they've had to change up their scheduling format. And what that brings is, you see less of the UVA, NC State games, the Louisville games. You don't see UVA playing, Georgia Tech every year or whatever. NC State in particular is interesting because you get two protected rivals, and Virginia's two protected rivals. Obviously, Virginia Tech is one of them, and then North Carolina is their other one. So they'll play those two rivals no matter what every single season. With that being said, though, that kind of leaves out NC State, who is kind of a local rival to UVA, I guess, distance-wise. That leaves out Georgia Tech. That leaves out all these, schools that you're used to playing every year. So the reason why this is considered non-conference is UVA and NC State scheduled a home and home. And so next year they'll be playing in Charlottesville, and that'll also count as a non-conference game. So it won't count for standings for ACC league play. It still counts, obviously, just not as an ACC game. It's non-conference. And it's a way that the two schools can be able to play each other with the new ACC scheduling format. So it's good. I like it. I like to be able to play NC State. I think it's a great matchup. And I like it. It's just really weird that it's not an ACC game, And I think it's the first time since, I think I read 1948 since the last time these two teams played, and it was a non-conference game. So that was kind of interesting. With that being said, though, with it being a non-conference game, that makes it a tad less important, I'd say, because I'm sure many of you out there agree with me in the fact that you care a lot about the conference games because, ACC standings is everything and whatnot, and, that's just what you care about. And, it's really weird, but as far as momentum goes, and getting this fan base to believe in this squad, this game is huge for Virginia. Huge. If Virginia loses this football game, you're going to see a lot of fans, I think a lot of those pessimistic fans come out and just stop believing in the program altogether. 100%. And you're going to get the fire Tony Elliott. You're going to get your, boycott in the stadium. You're not going to get very good attendances. I think this game is just big for the purposes of momentum and belief. And if Virginia does win this game, you'll still have people believing hey, this team can do big things. You're going to have a good record. I've said it many times. I'll get into this more later. This game, I think, in my opinion, determines a lot of how the rest of this season is going to go. Determines a lot. I think, you win this game, you're looking at a pretty good season. But you lose, I don't know how the downward spiral can go. So it's going to be really interesting. We're going to dive deep into it all right here on the Cavalier Connection. You don't want to miss any of it. Be sure to hit that subscribe button. Go check out the rest of our stuff on YouTube at the Cavalier Connection, and you can also check out all of our X content at Talk EVA Sports and at Cavalier Connection for everything else: YouTube, Facebook, Instagram. You can find it all there. And again, be sure to go check out thecavalierconnection.com for all of our articles. So let's talk about this Wolfpack offense, this Wolfpack team in general. But I really want to focus on the offense because that's going to be a game changer. And we saw NC State play against ECU last Saturday, and they didn't look too impressive. They only won 24-17, I believe the final was, and NC State's better than that, I'd say. They're 100% better than that, but they were up 17-0 in that game. I think in the second quarter things are looking up. It was looking like a blowout for the Wolfpack. They started a bit slow, but in the second quarter they exploded for points. And you really expect them to get a blowout win against ECU. ECU's nothing special out of the American Conference. Nothing special. And they really only won by 7. And it really came down to the end. ECU had a chance late in Wolfpack territory, kind of blew the clock management a little bit. Incomplete pass, 4 and out, and there you have it, NC State wins. So they didn't look overly impressive. Who did look impressive, to me anyways, CJ Bailey, quarterback for NC State. That kid is a monster. I'll say this. He had an interception against ECU, which did not look very good. It looked like he was trying to throw it to his receiver. It might have been Rogers. I can't remember who the receiver was. And it was an in route. And there was, an ECU defender playing man or playing that outside zone, but he completely missed the safety that was playing that middle zone, and safety picked him off completely. Had a nice little return on him. That was a terrible read, and that, CJ Bailey's only a sophomore. He played last year. He's only a second year for NC State, and I think those are not rookie mistakes. He's not a rookie, but that immaturity, that it happens. It happens to any good quarterback. In your early years of college, you're going to make bad reads. So that's his one downfall, if he has one. Other than that, this kid's a monster. And Coach Elliott kind of previewed him a little bit at the press conference. He made a quite big comparison, comparing him to Lamar Jackson, one from the Baltimore Ravens, which I don't care what quarterback you are, not even Jaden Daniels. I don't know if you can compare any quarterback to Lamar Jackson with his explosiveness to get out of that pocket and run. But I get the comparison to a point. And he says, he can take off and run, which is absolutely true. He can throw the ball a mile away, which is also true. That guy has a cannon. And Virginia's got to play good defense because they've got to get to him. He's going to light up this Cavalier defense if they don't get good pass rush. And he can improvise too. I mean, if he gets out the pocket and is running out the pocket, he can throw on the run. If you go and watch the highlights from that ECU game, he had a couple of times where, pass rush is getting to him, escapes out of the pocket and makes a throw on the run really late before he has to run out of bounds to throw it away, finds a way to improvise and make a good play. He 100% has that ability. CJ Bailey is a very dangerous quarterback for Virginia to be going against. And I think the best way of stopping him is getting that pass rush together. The pass rush, I don't think was it definitely wasn't up to standard. I don't think it was very good at all against Coastal Carolina. I mentioned in my article and on our recap episode, Virginia brought 4 pretty much the entire game. They were only blitzing 4. So your typical average pass rush, they blitzed a couple times 5. But other than that, nothing much at all. So I really expect Coach Rudd and Elliott to design some more pass rushing attacks this Saturday. I would hope so too, because if you're dropping back in zone every play and letting the Bailey have some time, and I'll say this, and it also goes on the defensive line as well, not just coaching. You got to get to the quarterback, even if there's only 4 of you. You can't let them sit back there all day. They got some nice pressure against Coastal Carolina, but definitely not as much. I think they only had like 3 QB hurries, maybe 2 QB hurries, and 1 sack or 2 sacks. You got to be better than that, and you can't give CJ Bailey time. because he will light up the Who's defense all day long if he has time. Got to get to the quarterback, and they have dangerous weapons too. Outside of C.J. Bailey, first of all, their tight end Justin Jolly, monster. In my opinion, one of the best, if not the best, tight end in ACC football. He's huge. I think he's about 265 pounds, and he's got speed. He's long. He's fast. He's good. And then that receiving room for NC State looked good against CCU. They are good. Wesley Grimes is your main guy. He had a very great reception pass from Bailey. Excuse me. Had a great catch, or a great route, I should say, from Bailey. That was a dime that put him in the end zone. Grimes had a nice day. Teddy Hoffman, Noah Rogers, a very good receiving room. Bailey has plenty of weapons. The offensive line is nice. They're kind of around the horn. They're old. They're young at different spots. The offensive line looks good. It got the job done against ECU. Bailey never really was in too much trouble, I don't think. But Bailey himself is dangerous for the Hoos to face. It's one of the better quarterbacks in the ACC. Definitely in the top half of the ACC, top 8, I'd say, maybe higher. But then also the run game too. Hollywood Smothers is your starting running back for NC State, and he looked pretty good against ECU, and he is good. Smothers really, really quick. If you watch the tape on him, he is quick. He can make a defender miss. If he gets up in open field space, you might as well just kiss goodbye, because you ain't gonna catch him. You will not catch him. So Virginia's just got to get there early. They've got to send pressure. Coach Elliott made an interesting point about the Coastal Carolina game in his weekly press conference Tuesday. I don't remember who asked the question. It might have been Preston Willett. Shout out to him. Whoever asked it was asking about Fisher Kamak was lining up at the nose tackle spot. Lining up at the nose tackle spot on certain plays, against Coastal Carolina. And Elliott made a great point. He said, yeah, because Fisher is playing that interior D-line on third downs when they want to get pass rush, which absolutely makes sense. It's a simple nickel formation, and you have your edges playing on the inside, and you have multiple edges in, and you take out, your big guys like Jameer Carter, who's just pure strength, and you put in your quicker guys like Fisher Kamak, Mitchell Milton, Kazim Moore. I think it might have been Kazim Moore, not Fisher Kamak. Kazim Moore on the inside. You get all quick guys and mobile guys to try and get pass rush on the quarterback. And Coastal Carolina did a great job exploiting that. If they do get the first down, going no huddle, like, hey, they're stuck now. They've got a tad smaller guys. They're more mobile on that defensive line. Now, here's what we're going to do. We're going to go no huddle so that you can't substitute. And we're going to run the ball, and they're not going to stop it. And it's nothing against, Kazim and Fisher and Mitch. Those guys are built for the edge. They're not built for the interior defensive line. That's for your big guys like Jameer Carter, Jason Hammond, Anthony Britton. This defensive line is so deep. Hunter Osborne, they're there for the interior D-line. And that's there to stop the run. When you're stuck in that nickel set, that dime set, when you're just trying to get to the quarterback, it makes sense. And Coastal Carolina exploited that. Regardless, Virginia needs to get to the quarterback. It's going to take everybody. I'm really curious to see how Coach Rudd's going to attack this NC State offense. If you get to the quarterback, and our corners looked so good. Our defensive back room looks so good against Coastal. Again, this is Coastal. This is Coastal Carolina. This is the Chanticleers we're talking about. So you have to take it with a grain of salt, because Coastal, not only is it Coastal Carolina is not what they were a couple years ago in the Group of 5. They're not the Group of 5 powerhouse anymore. Not yet. They're working to get back there, but 2 new coordinators, 60 new players, 39 new transfers, I think it was. You lose 60 or 40 something guys. Completely new team. Completely new quarterbacks. You don't know who's starting each week except for the left tackle position. That team is terrible. Don't get yourself worked up over that team. I get it. Coastal was good. They've been ranked in the past couple years. That's not them this year. And I love Coastal, but they're not a great football team. So people who are looking at that like, man, Virginia blew the brakes off Coastal, one of the better group. No, they're not one of the better group of 5 schools. They're not good this year. So take it with a grain of salt. But with that being said, the defensive backroom played really well. The offensive line played really well. That's beside the point, though. Defensive backroom was very good against Coastal Carolina, which leads me to believe if they can do that against NC State, man them up. Man them up. Press. Give the receivers a hard time trying to get off the ball. No reason to be sitting back in coverage. Let's press man to man, get to the quarterback, and there's no reason to sit back. I truly believe these corners and these safeties are good enough to line up man to man with each of these receivers. They can match up with all of them. The one that I is the scariest is Justin Jolly, the tight end. And I don't know who's going to go on him. But go man to man, come after the quarterback, bring 5 guys, bring 6 guys for all I care. Maybe drop one back, cover one man in zone. Bring the house and come after CJ Bailey. Get after him early. Play some hits. Play some good coverage. I mean, the coverage looked good the other day. Donovan Platt's now starting at corner. He overtook Jordan Robinson. I think he's listed as an or, but now he's listed number 1. Ethan Minter's now listed as an or with, I think it's Costner. I'm going to have to double check that. I don't remember who he's with an or with. But, man up. Play man-to-man coverage, in my opinion. Get to the quarterback. And Virginia will have a day against NC State, I think. Now, if you do strategize to do that and you don't get to the quarterback, you're going to be in trouble. Virginia's going to be in a lot of trouble if they try to blitz and they try to get to the quarterback and they don't, because you give him just a little bit of time, he will light us up. Our corners are good, but they can't stay on somebody for 6 seconds long. You can't give him that much time. You've got to get to the quarterback. Can't give him time to think, can't give him time to find the open man, and you can't give him time to scramble either. You set a contain on the outside, have Mitch Melton, Fisher Kamat, Kazim Moore, whoever you want on the outside on that edge, set that contain. Don't let him move. Just get to him. That's all you can do. CJ Bailey is a very talented quarterback, and props NC State. He's really good. He's only a sophomore. He has a very bright future in front of him, whether it's with NC State or with a bigger school. It's going to be a tough task for Virginia to stop him. And then Hollywood Smothers, that run game is going to be dangerous too, I think, because we'll get too caught up in that pass rush, like I said earlier, and then you have the interior defensive lineman not in the game, and you give it to Smothers. Smothers can take off. So it's going to be interesting to see how Coach Red schemes that up. There's a reason why he's coaching, and I'm just over here calling shots from a podcast. I don't truly know what I'm talking about, but I can look at the tape and see like, hey, this is what they're good at. This is not what they're good at. So, like I said, the only mistake I really saw, CJ Bailey had a great day against ECU. He had 301 yards. I want to say I don't remember how many. I feel like he threw like 3 touchdowns. I'm gonna try and find that. 301 yards. He had 1 touchdown. He had the interception. The interception was bad. I'll be honest. The interception was really bad. But with that being said, everybody's gonna make their mistakes. I'm sure before too long, Chandler Morris is gonna throw something that we say that is awful. Everybody does it. It's a quarterback. He's young. We just gotta hope that those mistakes happen early, and we gotta jump out to a fast start. And that question I was talking about earlier in the press conference was about Daniel Rickert, by the way, not Kazim Morris. That's my apologies. But Rickert was caught lining up on the nose tackle slot or the D tackle slot, and that was all the nickel. Coastal did a good job exploiting that, and yeah. With that being said, though, this Virginia depth chart very, very similar to last week. Not too many changes other than, Landon Danley now get the starting spot at Mike. We got an update on Cam Robinson. It sounds like he's going to be good to go next week against Stanford. He's looking really good, Coach Elliott says. So he'll join back in practice next week. Hopefully we'll be ready for the Stanford game. I hope they don't rush him. We'll see, though. But for now, Landon Danley takes over that starting spot at Mike over Trey McDonald. Landon Danley had a great night last Saturday night, led the team in tackles. So I'm happy for him. He was pretty good, and he can definitely make an impact for this Cavalier squad. Only other changes I mentioned earlier: Ethan Minter is now an or with Christian Charles, which I loved what Minter did the other night. He had the interception; he could fly all over the field, which is really good. And then Donovan Platt now has an or, but is starting over Jordan Robinson. So Robinson's tall, by the way. I think that's 6'4". I forgot how tall this team is. Emmanuel Carnley still starting at right corner, 6'3". And NC State's receivers are long too. They're 6'1", 6'2", 6'3", all over the place. So I'm gonna need that height for sure. I really do think we can match up with them, and we should be able to play some man for sure. I think we're definitely capable of running man to man with these guys all day long. So with that being said, offensive side of the ball, I really want Coach Kitchens to get this run game going. It was nice against Coastal Carolina. It wasn't anything special. Early in the game, you saw those early drive rushes, which I love when you pick up 5 yards, 6 yards, 7 yards. When you establish that run game early, it's so good for opening up stuff later in the game. And you catch the defense in formations they don't want to be in. They think they're going to run the ball, and then they're in a run formation, and you can pass the ball all over them. Establish this run game, and Elliott mentioned in the press conference, got to get everybody involved, and he plans on getting everybody involved. Everybody meaning Jamari Taylor, who seemed to get the bulk of the touches last Saturday night. Xavier Brown, we know about him, explosive. Harrison Whaley got the direct snap touchdown, as well as Taylor got one as well. Direct snap twice? Red zone efficiency? Okay, Coach Elliott. Okay, Coach Kitchens. I see y'all. And Noah Vaughn had a couple nice touches as well. He only had a couple, but he was pretty impactful when he was in the game. So that was quite exciting to see. So, this offensive line, I say it time and time again, absolutely has the potential to get this run game going. We have four very good running backs, 3 that I'm really comfortable giving the ball to. And I love Jamari Taylor getting the bulk of them. I love X being in there as a pass-catching running back, or tailback, if you will, catching those screens, running those wheel routes. He can be so explosive there. And then Whaley getting in from time to time, too, more as a power back kind of guy. I love that. Virginia's got to run the ball. And I feel like a broken record player because I said this before the Coastal game. I said it all offseason. Get that run game established. I know fans, modern fans, are bored of it. They don't want to see the run game. They don't want to see run. I get it. But, man, if you can get this run game established early against NC State, it's going to be untouchable. It's going to be untouchable. And you got to get, Chandler Morris seems like he's healthy. Coach says he is healthy, and he says he's going to play his tail off. I hope that's the case. I hope that Chandler or the coaching staff isn't hiding anything from us. I don't want Morris going if he's not 100% in a non-conference game this early in the season. And Kalen looked nice. I believe Kalen can deliver almost, if not just as good as Chandler can. I like Kalen. He's quick. I really think he could be a good quarterback for us. If Morris isn't 100%, he shouldn't go, but it sounds like he's good. So if he's 100% good, I'm fine with it. And hey, let's see Morris dial up this NC State defense. When you establish that run game early, and you establish that run game well, and then he could pop out for a play action, catch the defense off guard, line up, get your receivers downfield. When they're expecting the run game, they're going to press up, add more people in the box, and that'll just let nothing more than Jamal Edrin and Terrell Harris to eat up. Cam Ross, eat up. Ross lined up in that slot was unbelievable. He won our Minster's moment of the week. Shout out to Minster's, by the way. Man, Cam Ross was unbelievable. Over 100 yards receiving, had 7 receptions, I think, a touchdown. Kick return touchdown. You couldn't ask for a better Cavalier debut, the JMU transfer, that is. Let Cam Ross, Jamal Edrin, Terrell Harris eat up. And this receiving room is deep, too. You got Cam Courtney, who's going to get in the game some. He's small. He's quick, athletic. I saw Dylan Newton-Short get in there against Coastal. He has so much potential, too. I know he's on the lower end of the depth chart. Eli Wood. Jaden Thomas had the drop on 4th down, which stunk, but he certainly has some potential as well. Spread this offense out, get the run game established, and then pop out for some passes. I'm telling you, get the run game established against NC State early. You will have your way offensively that entire day. Entire day. No question about it. And the more you run the ball and the more successfully you run the ball, the more open your receivers are going to get when they catch the defense off guard. Terrell Harris, unbelievable night against Coastal Carolina, had the crazy catch, was getting open, great route running. I really believe that Virginia should get their way offensively against NC State. I do think so. This offense should be able to size up the NC State defense. The defense is physical. They're long, but they should be able to size up this defense real well. My biggest concern is on the Virginia defense sizing up CJ Bailey. That's my biggest thing that I'm watching. With that being said, another big test is this offensive line. And I mentioned the defensive back room earlier with Coastal Carolina. This offensive line has a huge test in front of them when it comes to the NC State defensive line. The O-line against Coastal is pretty good. There really wasn't much pressure on Chandler Morris throughout the game. With that being said, like I mentioned earlier, it's Coastal. Coastal doesn't have the athletes like an ACC athlete is. And I'm not saying the ACC athlete is the best out of all the conferences. I'm saying ACC compared to Sunbelt athlete is very different. and Coastal is never going to compete in that trenches war at this time. And they can eventually. At this time in that dynasty, they will not compete in the trenches with Virginia. With the guys that Virginia brought into the transfer portal, they will not. It just won't happen. So this offensive line is getting tested against NC State, an ACC school, a tough ACC school. Pave the way for Jamari Taylor, protect our quarterback, man. That's all you can ask for. Offensive line. Overall, the depth chart in general for the offense is pretty much the same. I don't think I noticed any changes. I'm double checking myself now. Yeah, no, not really. Sage Enos, Dakota Twitty. I didn't see much action out of Enos and Twitty. They got a couple of receptions each against Coastal. Nothing too much, though. I was kind of disappointed in that. I want to see them more. It's also a secret weapon, I think. Virginia's trying to hold over, and they're good. Sage, I've heard a lot of great things about. Twitty's just a matchup nightmare. I'm telling you, he's going to break out one of these games and take one deep. This offense is good enough to compete with NC State and good enough to defeat NC State, I think. The biggest concern, stop CJ Bailey. Defense, do your thing. Let's play some complimentary football. Let's get after it. That's all I can say when it comes to that. Virginia should be able to make this happen. So I'm going to go ahead and pick my prediction, and I'll let you guys stop listening to me. I know I'm blabbing on forever about this stuff. I appreciate any of you that are still listening. I have a lot of fun doing this. I wanted to make sure to hop in here on this beautiful Friday before game day, and be sure to go follow me at WahooJack06. I'll have a lot of updates on game day. I'll be making the trip to Raleigh. Really excited. I'll have updates pregame, during game, post game, press conference. So be sure to go follow me over on the X, and I'll have you updated on that. And check out the CavalierConnection.com post game articles, live updates. They'll all be right there. With that being said, though, I do think Virginia's going to win this football game. It's not going to be an easy win. Defense needs to do their job. If they do their job, Virginia will win this football game. That's what it comes down to. Virginia defense limits, contains, as Coach Elliott likes to say, contains CJ Bailey enough. They will win this football game. I truly believe the offense will do their thing. I really do. It's going to be a shame if they don't. They should be able to do their thing against NC State. I do think Virginia's going to win. It's going to be a tough game. It's going to be a nice crowd at Carter Finley. Noon kickoff, so a bit early. But it's a big one. And a big one, like I mentioned earlier, for the belief of this fan base. You win this football game, attendance is going up. Fans believe more. You lose, the pessimists are going to be out. Same old Virginia, same old Cavaliers. Can't win the big games that build momentum. And Elliott was asked about, Virginia started 4-1 last year. It was so exciting. Has he learned anything from having that kind of early season success? he talked all about it and was like, yeah, we got to be more patient. We got to go out there and reset every week. Just because we won one game doesn't mean, the season's a success. We got to go out there, reset every week. He has the right mindset. This team's culture is untouchable. Elliott has a great locker room in there. They absolutely believe they can win this game. I believe they can win this game. With that being said, I'm going to go with Virginia winning. I feel like the offense is going to do really well. I'm going to take Virginia. I mean, they put up 48 on Coastal. I'm going to go. I feel like I'm always lingering with the same numbers every time I make a prediction. I'm going to go Virginia 34. Virginia 34, NC State 24. 34-24. That's going to be my final score prediction. Virginia 34, NC State 24. I think they can absolutely cover. I think NC State, last I checked, was still favored 2.5. That line's kind of moved around a little bit between 3.5, 2.5, and 3. I think Virginia will win this game. It's a big one. NC State's a tough school. But this offense should be too much for NC State to handle. I would expect. You don't know that, though, for sure. I don't know too much about the NC State defense. But just handle CJ Bailey, and you're going to have a nice day. Get the run game established. Get to a quick start, too. If Virginia starts out the game like they did against Coastal Carolina Saturday night and start out with a slow first quarter, forget about it. That's a loss. NC State's going to win the game 100%. If Virginia doesn't capitalize in that first quarter, game, NC State wins 100%. Mark my words. You cannot start slow like that. The reason they got away with it with Coastal is, again, Coastal's a terrible dynasty, terrible team. I hate to be crapping on that school so much. I really do, but it's the truth. You should never compete with Coastal in a season like this. You should never compete with William & Mary. William & Mary is next week. Virginia should not have a problem with William & Mary, as they shouldn't. They didn't have a problem with Coastal. They shouldn't. This is a much bigger test. NC State is a real test. NC State is a tough game, and you cannot start slow like that like you did against Coastal. If you do, things will not go well. Get a quick start, establish that run game, score multiple times in that first quarter. Even if you give up touchdowns, keep up with them in that first quarter. I think Virginia's going to win at 34-24. So that's going to wrap it up for this stream. This version of the podcast. I appreciate all of you for listening. If you're still listening to me yap, I appreciate that. Be sure to hit that subscribe button if you haven't already at Cavalier Connection on YouTube. And please check out the CavalierConnection.com. So many great articles on there. Jay just had one posted about him and my dad taking a trip down to Carter Finley when they were about my age. Great story, talking about myself as well. So be sure to go read up on that. Read up on my preview if you want more content, and be sure to go check it out on game day, pregame, postgame. There will be content in there. Check out my X at WahooJack06. Again, that's WahooJack06. I'll have content all day from Raleigh at Carter Finley Stadium. Maybe check out some of the tailgate, some of the stuff going on inside the stadium pregame, the atmosphere. It's going to be a lot of fun, so you don't want to miss any of that. With that being said, though, that's going to wrap us up today. And can't wait to get going at Raleigh. Be sure to check out, I believe, Sunday is when we're going to have our recap episode. We'll see, though. We might go live. I don't know for sure. So we'll see. But with that being said, that's going to wrap us up. Go Hoos!